Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the Deceptor Lab. I'm your boy Freeze here today to talk to you about Legacy 3. This is the third installation in my volume about combat bots, and so we're going to talk to you about them, and I'm just going to rate them from who I like the least to who I like the most out of the batch. But I always go in and tell you some of the good, the bad, and the ugly for each bot. And honestly, it's a pretty tough one. Um, yeah, it's a tough one when I try to rank these guys. These guys I feel like are pretty good. Um, so give me a couple of seconds to think about it, and I'll be right back. All right. All right. So I had a little bit to think about it, and I think that I'm gonna start from the bots that I like the least. And so I'm gonna start off with this guy. I'm gonna start off with Bomb Shock. And it's not that I think that he's a bad bot. I think he's a pretty good combat bot. But I also think that, well, let's go look at the ability and I'll tell you why I think what I think about it. So let's go to the game screen and we will find my Bomb Shock. Now, granted, I've got him at a low level. I've got him at 3-star. I hadn't used him. Well, I haven't. I've used him, but I hadn't built his ability yet. But this is what I got. And so I got Bomb Shock in here at level 1, 3-star. But I have studied his ability quite a bit. I've used him on playtest server, so on and so forth. And one thing I'll tell you is if you get him at the 4 or 5-star level, he's going to have pretty good health. He's going to have pretty good damage. But when I go look at his ability, and his ability is fire based. And so if you've been listening to some of my other videos in the last week or two, one of the things that I look at is the fire damage. I think it's too easily countered. I think it shows up as a war effect too often, and I think that it also presents some other problems just because Titan Tech Tree has some stuff that's going to be protecting things from fire damage, and I think like these elemental attacks are under attack. Now I will say, if you want to go when you don't have the fire effects being reduced, then that might be a good time. That if you can get a bot that's in there with like Caliburst, somebody that's going to amplify fire damage, and if you're trying to do damage over time, then it's going to wind up being a really, really good thing for you. But I mean, it's a pretty good damage bot, period. Now I'll even show you up here on, in game, even at level 1, 3-star. Man, this guy is pretty good, man. That's why I say it's very tough for me to. So let me do this. Let me go and find a spot for him. Bring my Deathsaurus back on. That's who I've got him loaded on currently. Um, and really, the reason for me is just if I get him powered up a little bit higher, I like to drop him in behind the zone that I stun. But for the purposes of just showing off his ability and what I think it can do, I'll just drop Deathsaurus right down here at the bottom of the screen, and I'll just let Bomb Shot kind of do his thing so you can see it. Because even at this lower level, 3-star ability 1, he's pretty powerful, man. Like, look at that auto cannon. That's a pretty high defense. Is it gets ripped down. I mean, there's other things attacking. I got the Titan up there. I've got Deathsaurus up there. But I mean, he just sits back. One thing I like about him a lot is he kind of just hangs back and he just does damage. Like 1 shot, 2 shot, fire starts taking over. And here in these zones, I know that I'm not going to have any fire damage or reduction. And he just makes things really simple. And this is bare bones, low level Bomb Shock. But as a companion style, he also, he also can be a little bit of a distraction for some of your bots. So I like that about him also. But yeah, I just he's pretty good, and he's very durable. I mean, right there, you see him going 1-on-1 with Night Stalker. Now, granted, he would have lost, but if I had invested in him a little bit, that's one of those things that Night Stalker kind of takes away. Instead of him pestering your bots, he's in there going 1-on-1 with another combat. So he's definitely got his uses. He got more good than bad when it comes to him. Like I said, I like putting them with a bot. Like if I got a team that's got like calibers where it can amplify his fire damage, then if I got that's the kind of teams I try to put him with. Pretty solid bot, so I'm in no way or capacity or trying to take away from this bot. So that's my number 5. Let's move on back to the lab. We'll take Bomb Shock down. And so my number 4 in this particular batch is going to be Double Crosser. I'll move him up here where you can see him. So Double Crosser, I feel like, is a very, very undervalued bot in Transformers Earth Wars. And let's go back to the game screen. We'll take a look at his tooltip as well, and we'll see what it is that he does. I mean, most of us already know what he does, but I just always want to highlight. So this is what I got. I got him in a 4-star, and I actually started investing in him, not too heavily, but relatively heavily. I had him at level 8, and the reason why I like him for my particular team builds is I like to keep a lot of bots up there to have high health in my first 3. Usually I get my sacrifice bot in the first slot, so my 2 through 3 slot are usually bots at relatively high health. And so I love his damage reduction. When I look at his tooltip here, 16% reduced damage from all sources, and this is for the level 8 4-star. So the thing that the negative part for him is it's every 15 seconds. But when you actually watch it in action, it seems like it's lasting for a pretty long time. And he also shields nearby allies, and he actually shields them a little bit more. So if I had 16% reduced damage from all sources for the bot, because it's just going to be a warrior class bot, so that's going to be helpful for you. But then he's shielding his allies for 19%. So in this particular case, for 4 seconds. And I really, really like that ability because, like I said, if I could go up there and I've got, those teams where I've had Sentius Malice up there, and I've had Impactor out there, and I had Tantrum up there at one point when he was on my war team, and that's one of those things where I was like, all right, these guys are protected while they're out there, which is why I had them on Tantrum, because honestly, it doesn't make as much sense to put them on a rushing tank. I actually like them more on Blot than anyone, but then I started changing strategies with Blot, and I started using Fangtron and other bots to where I can go get helos out there. So what I'll do, let me go into an attack, do a little farming here, and what I'll do is let me get rid of him because I don't want him on that team. I was just doing a demonstration. Let me see if I can find where I actually have Tantrum. Alright, I ain't got him on a team just yet, so I'll just go ahead and I'll do this. I'll take these guys out. Now let's put them like in a simple zone 12 team just for demonstrative purposes. And so what I'll do is I'll show an example of exactly what I was talking about. I'll put him in the team with Impactor. And so you can see him do some work. I'm going to take myself out of the screen and we'll zoom in a little bit. And what you'll see is a little aura will come out, so the shield comes up. And so now he's protected himself, he's protecting Impactor, and he's protected Vertebrae at the same time, which is really, really helpful just if you're under heavy fire. And so I like abilities like this where they're universal. They can work with any particular team. any combination. I like those abilities that help the entire team, and so it becomes valuable to me because I don't like that there are a lot of players that don't particularly enjoy this bot. I think it's a real valuable bot, but you gotta put them on someone that's gonna stay with the rest of the pack, and that's one of the kind of the drawbacks because when you're using a lot of your warriors, and that's one of the reasons I started to use them with blot because I say blot, I usually have them pretty close to the rest of my team when I use blot, so it becomes helpful at that point. But in the event, that's where I've got him. I've got him out of this particular batch. I've got him ranked at number 4. Excuse me. All right, now it really gets tough because we've got a couple of options here between the three that's left. But honestly, and people are gonna hate that I say this, but number 3 for me out of this batch is gonna be Glit, and a lot of people rely on Glit pretty heavily just because Glit has a healing ability. And so let's talk about it. Let's go in there and look at the tooltip. And that's it. I've got Glit at 3-star. And so a 3-star, level 6. So a couple things. Glit has pretty good health, and he has a healing ability, and it's about 70 points per second on this 3-star. Substantially better on the 4 and 5-star versions. But I don't know. So I run mine. I run mine on Felbat, and so we'll get Felbat up here in a battle. And let me see if I can find my team. All right, so I got Felbat in a battle, and I use it because just to kind of help out with Felbat's low health, and I feel like it's a little bit of protection that comes with that ability. So I like using him on my stun bots. The problem is that I don't think that's the best use for Glit. I think a lot of players are using Glit on healers, which I totally agree with, depending on what other combat bot pairings you have. So here I'm gonna just go pop all the outpost boss with Flame War. And I'll follow Felbat around for a second. Let Glit do its thing. Come down there and get a stun. And the thing is, Glit will go down there and help mine because I know I got another stun bot down there and Scrapper. And I just get some really nice healing there, helping Felbat's case to keep him alive. And you see that his ability, his health meter isn't going down very much because he's protecting himself with his stun beam, but he's also getting healed every step of the way, and that helps him to have a little bit more survivability. And yeah, so it's a really, really good bot. It just happens to be, I just happen to like the other bots more, man, and that's really all it is. But I've seen players use him with other healers. That seems to have a really good effect, and you seems to be able to keep him on the battlefield a little bit longer as well. Really, really good bot. Like I said, this whole batch is I like a lot. Alright, so let's get Glit out of here. So we go down to number 2 in this batch. So let's see what we got left. Let's talk about Gatorface. Move Gatorface around right there. And I like Gatorface a lot, honestly. And so the way that I like to use Gatorface, I like to use Gatorface with actually let's talk tooltips first. So let me get rid of some of these guys. I like using Gatorface on Breakneck, honestly. And so when I look at Gatorface, so it says shoot enemies from long range. So he's got the longer range out of the combat bots. And so it talks about percentage wise. I got this guy at the level 8 4-star, and at level 8 4-star, he has 26% chance of a critical strike, dealing 2 times more damage and causing the target to receive plus 20% damage from all sources for 5 seconds. So that's cool. I think it's a really good ability. I don't like chance abilities as much. Now, what I've seen from some of the players that use this bot heavily, one of the things I've seen is I'll actually do a demonstration a little bit. Mine's isn't as strong as it could be, but what I've seen is folks will use Breakneck and use Gatorface together, and then throw like a healer behind it. A healer. So I'm gonna actually throw 2. We'll throw the healer in there, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna allow us to keep the main bot alive. It'll let us keep Breakneck alive, but he stays back so far away that it helps him keep out of danger because of the use of Gatorface. And so it also allows that eventually that critical strike is coming if you can keep your bot alive. So a lot of times what it is I'll use my 4-star hook, and I believe that I have my 5-star reflector in there, so I'll give as much protection as I can. I'll run Reflector's ability, and I got a couple of SG Ravages in there to help out and support, and I'm just gonna let him kind of do his thing. And so that critical strike is a pretty strong strike. I don't like anything that I don't know when it's coming. But with Breakneck, it's pretty cool because you can use Breakneck's ability and just pick off other stuff. Particularly like if you're in the higher levels where you have spider mines or anything like that, and you can just spam that ability because it never goes up, and it helps you clear out things a little bit faster. But yeah, I've seen some folks that use multiple healers, or just use just Breakneck and then one healer, and just slowly let them take apart the front half of a base. So I like it. I like Gatorface on him. I do feel that there are other bots out here that you want to use, particularly like any type of high DPS bot. So any of your gunners, if you want to get them to stay back in the middle of your teams, then that's the way to go about doing it, and that'll protect that bot a little bit, keep him out of danger. And it is one of those things because it's a slower ability, and it kind of mirrors the ability that Breakneck already has. So you're kind of just doubling down on it at this point. But yeah, it's definitely not a bad ability. I like it. And of course, that leaves us down to my number 1 pick. And my number 1 pick in this batch is actually Sights. And I like Sights primarily because of from a utility standpoint. Let's take a look at the tooltip real quick, and I'll talk my way through it like I usually do. All right, so for Sights, one of the things that I like, and I do have this bot in the 4-star, and I've actually just recently started to like Sights a lot because, so here it is, it's every 10 seconds, which 10 seconds for me can potentially be a long time. But at this level 6 4-star, it's already dealing 185% damage through everything in a straight line to the target and beyond. So it's kind of like, for me, automatically when I first got Sights, I'm just gonna level it up one more time so it goes up to 200. And by default, when I think about Sights, I think about Skull Smasher. And so what I'm gonna do is I'll run him in a battle and get rid of some of these other guys. Let's get these guys out of here that I've already used. We'll go back into zone 12. And I just like that straight down that line damage, and I feel like even if you don't have like a strong Skull Smasher, then it's kind of like you can double down on the ability by having it have such a high percentage of damage. So I like to use these on gunners that already naturally have high damage. And so one of the things I like to do is, like, and especially in a base like this where everything's already lined up, and you can just go in there and take out as much as you can. And then when you get close, yeah, you get a nice line damage from your special ability and your combat bot's ability. So it makes it very worthwhile to just have such high damage to multiple targets. And this is one of those abilities where it's not something that I'm in danger of having that ability, you know, not be ineffective because of a war effect or because of a Titan effect or anything like that. Which is why I rated him. That's why I rated Sights as high as I did, man, because he's really good in any situation. And so it's one of those things that I started thinking about. If you saw when I was talking about last week in one of my videos, I was talking about Brawl, and I was talking about, oh no, it was the last combat bot video that I had. I was talking about Fireline, and I was like how the elemental damages are now under attack. And that's one of the things that I was thinking about is, well, this is not one of those abilities that's going to be under attack anytime soon. So, oops, and I moved myself. I was trying to move the combat bots around. So yeah, it's a really solid batch, honestly. I like these guys. I think they are really, really good abilities from all of them. It just, you know, I might consider going into this batch. I'm not going to do it until after I get through the Legacy 1 batch, because I say I still want to go get that 5-star Crater Maker. But I think I might very well go into this batch afterwards, just because the current batch is very, very long. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take off. You guys tell me what you think in the comments. I know I always get a lot of feedback from people when I go talk about combat bots, and just giving them ratings and stuff. And it's all in good fun for me, man. I said I really enjoy it. If you enjoy the content and you enjoy talking to me about it, go ahead and give me a like and for the video. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I'll leave all the information for you in the description for this video. And you know, other than that, I'll see you in the next video, and I'll see you in the battlefield. Freezius out.